much it is. Yes, it is that time again when your police service, the Zimbabwe Republic Police, interacts with you, fellow Zimbabwean citizens, as we focus on harnessing all our energies towards fighting crime in our beloved country. In upholding this constitutional mandate of maintaining law and order in the country, we seek to partner you in creating that crime-free and peaceful environment good enough for economic development and national prosperity. Elliot Kudzai Ganyani is my name, and like all times, it is an honor and indeed an extraordinary privilege to have you along. As we begin this week's episode, we'd like to appreciate your input as well as that of our judiciary system for the concerted efforts in administering justice service delivery. Pursuant to this cause, a number of people have been arrested, convicted, and subsequently given varying sentences before the country's courts of law. Clive Charles, aged 33, and Tlahla Hobane, aged 26, who robbed Maxwell Chuma, aged 24, of his Honda Fit motor vehicle on 15 June 2019, were convicted and sentenced to 8 years imprisonment each at Tredgold Magistrate Court in Bulawayo. Jacob Wilson, aged 26, and Matthew Saidi, aged 18, who were arrested for armed robbery after they robbed Nyasha Goredema, aged 24, of various property on 7 March 2019, were sentenced to 9 years imprisonment each at Chinhoyi Magistrate Court. Admire and Gift Ndlovu, aged 28 and 29 respectively, were each sentenced to 9 years imprisonment at Kezi Magistrate Court after they stole 2 cattle belonging to the complainant, Ngovizi Tangwenya, aged 40. Moving on, the police are concerned with the number of people who are losing large sums of money to fraudsters after being duped into making payments for non-existent properties such as houses, residential stands, and even motor vehicles. Recently, Crime Watch visited Mbare Police Station, where one such fraudster was arrested.
Matutsa akasvika paakasa pedu vachiti vawana bhaya vanoshanda kubengi vachibva vati takutoenda nayo kuenda nayo kubengi ikoko saka vatora mota yakanga vachingaita dai remafoni manje kuti tinzwe kuti vazoita sei nebhaya panguva idziwa kuri kumateni makucheni tikaedza kuramba tichivafonera kubva kuma1 kusvika kuma4 kusvika vazotiwo munhu wacho ati mangwana mozoyamiswa mota mangwana makucheni havana kuchimbobvira vabatika ndo patikazopa ripoti ndopatonzwa kuti mota yatobatwa neMbare Police ichinji yanga kushandiswa kupara mhosva ichiita fraud yakazobatirwa kuHarare Hospital. Ndinoda hangu kupa kutenda kukuru kune mapurisa epambare vakakwanisa kuti recovery mota yacho sichita tatofunga kuti pamwe maybe haichabatike.
The investigating officer, Constable Tendai Murwira, explained how these criminals dupe unsuspecting car buyers of their hard-earned cash.
They create different social media platforms where they post pictures of the motor vehicles as well as pretending as car sale dealers. They approach car sale dealers as if they found them potential buyers for the motor vehicles. After being given the motor vehicle, they lure the customers to pay cash as deposit and disappear with the motor vehicle. In this case, we have recovered this motor vehicle at Toyota Wish, and the accused appeared in court facing a charge of fraud.
As police, we urge you to make reports as soon as the crime occurs, so that police will investigate the case whilst there are still fresh leads. You can also make use of our hotlines and our WhatsApp platforms. On the same note, we advise you to seek police clearance when dealing with valuables such as motor vehicles.
Zetrapi Mbare also arrested a person and recovered a Honda Fit vehicle which the accused person had disappeared with after hiring it from its owner. Let us hear more on what transpired from the police officers and the owner of the vehicle.
On the 14th of August 2019, I went into a contract pertaining to a vehicle hire at around 8 a.m. in the morning. The other party was supposed to return the vehicle by 6 p.m. that very particular day. Unfortunately, there was no communication received from the other party. He went away with the vehicle and never returned. I had to go and register with the police that I had a car missing.
We then made a signal in advising
our sister stations nationwide to the effect that whoever intercepted or saw this motor vehicle should arrest the occupants of the motor vehicle. We then received information that he was intercepted and arrested at a roadblock in Gutu. We then proceeded to Gutu police station, where we then recovered this stolen motor vehicle at the very roadblock where the accused person was intercepted and apprehended.
I just want to thank the police for the job that they are doing, for a quick response, and for showing the nation that their systems are really in place. From the time that I raised with them, it didn't take us much time for them to recover the vehicle.
As the police, we strongly urge you to make verifications on suppliers of goods and properties before making any transactions. It is also advisable not to over-rely on social media, especially when purchasing valuables such as motor vehicles, residential stands, and even houses. Do not move an inch. We are taking a short break. Join us in the second segment. To those who are just joining us, we are in the second segment of Crime Watch, and thank you for tuning in. Police across the country are intensifying efforts to bring to book anyone involved in theft and vandalism of copper cables. And just recently, Kamativi police arrested Blessing Sweswe in connection with theft of copper cables. A total of 6 rolls of the precious wires was recovered. In a similar case, police in Beitbridge arrested Philip Fambai, aged 29, after he was found in possession of 65 kilograms of Tel 1 copper cables at his house. We would like to warn members of the public against theft and vandalism of copper cables, as the law will certainly take its course, and remind you that this offense carries a 10-year mandatory jail sentence. Police are also disturbed by the occurrence of theft from car cases across the country and have intensified patrols in the country's major cities to get rid of these cases. One person has been arrested in Bulawayo in connection with this case.
In Bulawayo Central District, we are having challenges on dealing with the theft from motor vehicle cases. In our area, criminals are using either remote controls like this one. This remote control is used to interfere with the locking system. If a complainant locks his vehicle whilst an accused is pressing on the button on this remote control, the locking system of the vehicle will not lock, and only the lights will flash as if the vehicle have locked, and the accused will easily open the vehicle and search for any valuables that will have been left in the vehicle. We urge motorists to physically check the doors after locking their vehicles.
Moving on, the police would like to urge members of the public to secure their overhead water tanks, as criminals are now targeting to steal these tanks. Just recently, police in Norton arrested 2 people in connection with this offense.
In Norton Urban, we are experiencing thefts of tanks, water tanks, which are being targeted mostly in the low-density suburbs, where we have a lot of tanks being installed, and also the submersible pumps. We want to conscientize members of the public that they should secure their tanks onto their stands.
New information communication technologies have brought a lot of benefits to the world, but the criminals are also using these ICTs to perpetuate their criminal enterprises.
Globally, we are receiving about 1.5 million cases of cyber attacks annually, and this can be translated to just above 4,000 cases of cyber attacks on a daily basis. Locally, Zimbabwe has not been spared. As from January 2019 to 30 June 2019, we've already recorded almost 500 cases of cybercrime where a lot of people lost their savings through card cloning. Some of the methods that are used by the fraudsters in defrauding members of the public include this use of skimming devices, disclosure of PIN numbers where members of the public are enticed or are influenced to disclose their PIN numbers to these clone stars. Then we also have online theft of credentials. We also have theft of point-of-sale machines.
To counter these criminal efforts, the Zimbabwe Republic Police has held a workshop to equip its police officers with the requisite skills and knowledge to deal with cybercrime.
Cybercrime is affecting any region, and including the Southern Africa, and Zimbabwe is part of them. It's important to have a good technical cooperation to tackle this cybercrime in any forms. It can be bank fraud, it can be phishing, theft of identity, and so on, different kind of bullying, harassment through the internet and the network. And it's also important to improve our capacity to investigate and to secure the digital evidence respecting the chain of custody to get this evidence admissible in court according to international standards. That's why for several years now, we decided, the French government and also the several countries of SADC and the SARCO decided to have regional advisor on cybercrime to implement different training in different countries. And I am very happy that Zimbabwe is nowadays part of this country with this first training we had this week.
What it means is that the officers who have received training during the course of this week will actually be able to go out there and train other officers in the investigation of cybercrime.
In a rather sad development, police are also concerned with the influx of child pornography images on social media platforms.
We have got a responsibility to police crimes in general. And we have realized that with the advancement in technology, new breeds of crimes are coming up, and particularly on the use of the internet. Of late, we have been receiving several reports from international police organizations like Interpol, after they had received information from social media companies. These social media companies are obliged to report to the authorities, who then in turn advise Interpol. And we have realized that there is a trend where people are recording images of children, nude pictures of children, posting them on the internet. This practice is against our moral values, because in a way we are actually abusing our own children. And also this is also an offense in terms of our laws. For example, the Censorship and Entertainment Control Act, the Postal and Telecommunications Act, even the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act. So we would want basically to warn those who have got a tendency to post child pornographic materials, that the long arm of the law will catch up with them. And we would want to warn members of the public to desist from such practices. Remember, the internet is also accessible to our own children. We wouldn't want our children to access such kind of material. We would also want to encourage even children not to access these sites, and we also want to encourage parents to make sure that at least they monitor the use of the internet, the use of these technological gadgets, be they smartphone, be they laptops, be they desktop computers, as they are being used by our children.
It is the responsibility of you guardians and parents to always monitor the movements of your young female family members to protect them from becoming victims of rape. And always remember to quickly report any cases of rape or child abuse to your nearest police station. We will be right back. Welcome to the third and final segment of Crime Watch, and thank you for staying tuned. The fight against crime cannot be possible without the involvement of the community, and just recently, learners from Girls and Queen Elizabeth High Schools toured ZRP Harare Central to learn more on the roles and operations of the police.
We have received students from Queen Elizabeth and Girls High School. We have taken them on a guided tour around the Harare Central premises, starting with the front office, that is the charge office. This tour has been quite beneficial to them. These students are now an empowered society. They are now able to help the Zimbabwe Public Police in fighting crime. I would like to appeal to members of the public to encourage their children to join the junior corps clubs, as it is very beneficial to them as individuals and also to the nation at large.
Today we came for a tour at the Harare Central Police Station, and it was very educational because it was an intriguing insight on what happens, the processes from the front desk to the cells. Also, we visited the drugs unit, whereby we saw the different drugs and we learned about the different effects of drugs on people. People our age are the ones that are mostly affected by drugs because they're mostly the ones being inducing those drugs.
We managed to visit the victim-friendly unit where they deal with domestic violence and cases that need psychological help. In that unit, they deal with people who are physically, emotionally, and other forms of abuse. It's a very friendly place. The people there are able to help you. They also give you privacy to talk of your problems. We were told that we can help people by educating them about the dangers of the drugs and also by helping those who are already suffering from the use of drugs. We also visited the main office where the people go. Those who have problems, they go there and they're helped, and then dockets are opened. To those that at school, I would encourage them to join the Junior Corps Club. It's a very helpful club, and I really hope the police will be able to provide more tours like this so that people are really educated.
I learned that ZRP police, they are not just out there to help solve crimes and everything, but they are also there for the community, reaching out for the teenagers like me, reaching out for the community, the growing community. You can come here, and if you have any problems at home, at school, anyway, you can have that ear, that shoulder to lean on. That I didn't know, and it was a really good sight. And also I learned that as teenagers, we shouldn't indulge in drug abuse, and as peers, we have to promote each other to abstain, to stay away from drugs, because this will damage the future of the country, the future, our own future as teenagers.
They were here to interact and get to know what happens within the police service, because as citizens, they have to be law-abiding citizens. They should know everything that happens within the system. So they came here to get an insight on all activities and procedures that are carried at the station. And there is more to it than just what meets the eye. People have a misconception about the police force. All they think of is just being thrown behind bars and nothing else. But the station is made up of many other sections ready to cater for an individual. And by coming with all these students here, they have had a chance to get to know how the system operates. And this then goes a long way in catching them young. They will grow up as law-abiding and well-educated citizens.
The ZRP is taking advantage of the agricultural shows that are being held in the country's provinces to market its services. Last week, the Zimbabwe Republic Police joined other exhibitors at the Mashonaland East as well as the Matabeleland South agricultural shows, where they emerged winners in the security services categories.
We exhibit to market the organization, the services which we offer to members of the public, and to educate members of the public on how to prevent crime. We did very well. We came first in the uniform category, and overall we came third. So this is a main achievement, but all the same, next year we aim to get the overall best.
It is a memorable time in the Zimbabwe Republic Police, Mashonaland in this province, that we have won the first position under the uniformed forces. This trophy that I'm holding is dedicated to all members and officers in the Zimbabwe Republic Police, Mashonaland in this province. We have dedicated their energy towards the presentation of everything that has been done here. So I would like to commend the Provincial Command and even the corporate world for assisting us to come up with such an exhibition. However, we have taken this opportunity to conscientize members of the public on various crimes that may be guarded against their occurrence. We have also took time to actually give advice to some farmers on how they may protect their farm equipment, such as their irrigation pipes, pivots, and other equipment, so much that they may productively produce from their farms so that the country may have good, sustainable food security.
As usual, we would like to encourage you to adhere to road rules and regulations. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe recently took its road safety campaign to the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show in Harare.
Indeed, we're taking road safety to the doorsteps of the people. One such doorstep is the Zimbabwe Agricultural Show edition of the 2019. What are we doing? We want to make sure that we are always giving the alerts, and the theme for this particular year is road safety enables people to adopt, accentuate and accelerate technology, innovation and modernization. What is the story here? Road safety means zero deaths, means zero injuries, means zero property damage. So we are making sure that we have the human capital reserve. People should not die. You cannot innovate from the cemetery. You cannot modernize from your deathbed. When you are sick and you have lost your limb, you cannot be able to have interventions for road safety. So that's key. The engineering of roads, the enforcement, the education require innovation and modernization. Those issues are very key in respect of meeting our target of making sure that we reduce road deaths by 50% by the year 2030. That also speaks to the national target of making sure that our economy becomes an upper middle income economy, sustainable by the year 2030. We have again a low-hanging fruit, the law. We will forget about speeding if we abide by this law. We have Statutory Instrument 129 of 2015, Section 64, subsection B2, which says no person shall drive any public passenger carrying vehicle unless that vehicle is fitted with a speed monitoring or a speed limiting device. We are not very happy about speed monitoring because it suggests that the driver will commit the error. But speed limiting means the speed governor. Rwanda, Kigali did that. It worked. It will work.
The operation targeting vehicles without number plates is ongoing. And since January 2019, the police has impounded a total of 9,942 such vehicles throughout the country. Be warned that driving a vehicle without a number plate is an offense, and all owners of vehicles without number plates should visit the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development to regularize the registration of these vehicles. A number of people are on the police wanted list, and as we come to the end of this week's episode, we would like to highlight some of them. Takundwa Chimbwa, age 31, of house number 1280 Unit A, Sekech Tungwiza, and Ashbai Mandizhiza, aged 49, of house number 19312 Damafos Rua, are wanted by Rhodsville Police for a case of fraud. Zetarapi Chabalala is also looking for Tynos Neverson, age 28, of house number 7516/17 Chabalala, Blawayo, for a case involving theft of motor vehicle. And lastly, Zaka police is hunting for Jefta Denere of Chengevu village, chief daughter Zaka, for a rape case. The ZRP is a people's police service mandated, among other functions, to detect, investigate and prevent crime, as well as the general maintenance of law and order. We are also constituted to protect the lives and property of the people, upholding the Constitution and enforcing the law without fear or favor. Let us work with our police service to create that conducive environment good enough for economic development and national prosperity as we gear towards attaining a middle-income economy by year 2030. From the production crew and myself, yes, do remember that a candle loses nothing by lighting another, and together we can fight crime as a unit. Until we meet again next time, may the good Lord continue to bless you.